Hi everyone, and welcome to today's webinar. My name is Esmeralda El Olmo. I'm head of marketing at EMIS, and today, together with Mordor Intelligence, we are going to explore the key trends and development shaping the electric vehicle sector with a specific focus on battery innovation. So welcome everyone. Before we move into the presentation, let me do a brief intro and present our panelists today. So today we have the pleasure to come with Ravi, Teja, Kumar, Reddy, Mayaluru, industry expert from Mordor Intelligence, and Team Eda, strategy director at EMIS. Ravi is a special industry with a key focus on automotive. Ravi is based in the Mordor office in India, and thank you, Ravi, for joining us today. Ravi will explore the global sales and demands of the electric vehicle sector. Then we will a couple of remarks about technology and sustainability on the sector. In the second part, we have Tim here, Tim Adur, our strategy director of EMIS, based in London, who will explore how we can leverage Mordor technology, Mordor intelligent research reports to enhance strategic decisions and support confident decisions. And finally, on the agenda, we are going to close with a Q&A session. We have received many of your questions from the subscription, so thank you very much. But also during the session, you can ask any question you want on the panel on the right. We will try to do our best to reply to any question that you can have. Before moving with Ravi, for those of you who are new to EMIS, we provide company and industry intelligence to support confident strategic investment and risk decisions. We have been working over 30 years, focusing on providing clarity for the world's highest potential markets. How we achieve that? By creating the best industry and company analysis, data, news in countries when reliable information is at a premium. We cover 197 markets and over 370 industry sectors through our web-based platform. EMIS is part of EMIS Markets, which consists of 4 brands, all covering global markets for a different perspective. We have CIC data, specializing in microeconomic and high-frequency data, EPFR, which cover fund flows and money movements. EMIS, as mentioned, we specialize on company and industry intelligence, and Red Intelligence, who covers companies in distress. Today, we have the pleasure to have with us Mordor Intelligence, one of the premium industry resources available at EMIS. Mordor Intelligence is a global market intelligence firm empowering business with data-driven insights, AI-powered tools, and deep sector expertise. They have over a decade of expertise, over 550 experts across 150 countries, and they decode complex markets to help clients anticipate trends, assess risk, and size opportunities across over 20 industries. Saying that, on that intro, while we're waiting for everyone, now is Ravi, the floor is yours, and I think everyone is looking forward to hear a little bit more on a recap on the global automotive industries. So the floor is yours.
Yeah, thank you, Esme. So, if we have a recap of the automotive industry, there have been several things going on. But to be very specific in terms of the industry as a whole, there are several factors. I mean, if we take a look at the sales volume of passenger cars and commercial vehicles, they have been increasing over the last 4 years. Let's say if we talk about passenger cars, from 2021 to 2024, the car sales have increased by a CAGR of 5.8%. Factors such as the rising disposable income, increasing urbanization, the rise in technological integration in cars are driving the demand for cars across the globe. In addition to this, there has been another area of interest in the entire automobile industry, which is the electric vehicles. The government's rapid focus on increasing the electric vehicles on road, decreasing the emissions, and imposition of stringent emission norms is rising the demand for electric vehicles globally. If we move on to the next slide, uh, we have been tracking the automotive industry in at Mordor Intelligence, and if we specifically talk about the production statistics, a modest decrease of 1.1 percentage was seen in 2024, reaching 92.5 million units as compared to 93.4 million units in 2023. If we talk about sales, which are there in the next slide. Yeah. According to the International Organization of Motor Vehicle Manufacturers, a total of 82 million units of passenger cars were sold in 2024, representing a 2.5 percentage growth as compared to 80 million in 2023. The government's aggressive push towards reducing our emissions and the stringent regulatory framework and the shift in customers' preferences from IC engine vehicles to electric vehicles is driving the global demand for passenger cars. And if we talk about the commercial vehicle segment, the rising e-commerce, the replacement needs of fleet owners to replace their aging fleet, and the rising demand for public transportation is driving the commercial vehicle demand. In 2024, a modest growth rate of 1.2 percentage was observed in the commercial vehicle growth to 27.7 million units as compared to 27.4 million units in 2023. If we take a overall look at the production and sales of passenger cars and commercial vehicles, Asia is always the prominent region in the global scenario, followed by the American region and the European region.
Thank you, Ravi. I think that was a really good recap on the global automotive industry. Now, if we move into the electric vehicle sales, what are the trends in this sector?
Yes, Esme. So, like I said earlier, that several country level governments have set their own targets, have been aggressively working on increasing the number of electric vehicles on road in order to reduce the emissions. So, if we take a 4 year or 5 year trend in the electric vehicle sales, in 2020, the total electric vehicles, which are passenger cars and commercial vehicles, obviously, were 3.15 million units sold. By 2024, they have reached 18.3%, 18.3 million units, representing a 19.2 percentage penetration. If we take it the regional leaders in the electric vehicle market, we have China in the front with 38 percentage penetration, then Europe with 18 percentage penetration, and USA with 9 percentage penetration. Uh, there are a couple of interesting things if I have to talk about the electric vehicle industry very specifically. One thing is that although we see that the penetration rate is increasing on a year-on-year basis from 3.95 percentage to 19.23 percentage in 2024, the year-on-year growth rate of these electric vehicles has been decreasing. If I could give you a statistic on it, the car segment, which represented 122 percentage growth in 2021, represented a 54 percentage growth in 2022, 34 percentage growth in 2023, and 27 percentage growth in 2024. This is primarily because of the rising electric vehicle cost, the lack of charging infrastructure, and the decreasing incentives or subsidies that are being offered across certain geographies. And the other note which I wanted to mention on the electric vehicles is that according to Mordor Intelligence, we believe that a total of 2.5 million units of battery electric cars are going to be sold by the end of 2025 in the European region. Uh, the interesting aspect of the European market is over the years, the hybrid electric cars have been growing rapidly. Again, we believe that by the end of 2025, a total of 4.5 million units of hybrid electric cars are going to be sold in the European region, representing a market share of 35%. The primary reasons for the growth in hybrid electric vehicle are the increasing number of vehicle models, the customers feeling that hybrid vehicles act as a balance between electric vehicles and conventional vehicles are the primary factors. We can talk about the penetration rates in detail in the next slide. Yeah. So, like I mentioned, the electric cars sales in 2020, a total of 2.98 million units of electric cars were sold globally. This has reached to 17.51 million units by 2024 with a penetration rate of 25.92 percentage. If we talk about the commercial vehicles, a total of 170,000 units of commercial vehicles were sold in 2020, representing a 0.68 percentage penetration. By the end of 2024, the electric commercial vehicle sales reached 820,000 units, representing a 3 percentage penetration. Overall, if we take a consolidated look at passenger cars and commercial vehicles, the penetration rate reached 19.2 percentage, and the sales reached 18.3 million units.
Thank you, Ravi. What are the factors driving these electric vehicle sales? I think you mentioned a couple, but can you elaborate more on this?
Yes. Sure, Rasmi. So if we take a look at the growth factors specifically for the electric vehicle industry, it can be attributed into two different segments. One is the government's push towards electric vehicles in form of electric vehicle targets, incentives, and subsidies. The other factor is manufacturers exploring alternative battery chemistries or setting up battery manufacturing facilities across the globe to cater to the ongoing demand. If we first talk about the targets and incentives, China, which is the prominent player in the global electric vehicle industry, has an ambitious target of 45 percentage of electric vehicles by 2027 and 50 percentage of electric vehicles by 2035. To support this particular target, the government has recently renewed its trade-in subsidy scheme, wherein customers who opt for an electric vehicle by scraping out their IC engine vehicle receive a $2,730 of incentive. For this particular scheme, the government has also allocated $11 billion. If we take a look at the incentive trend in China over the last few years, it has been decreasing a bit. Uh, to quantify them, in 2015, a total of 54,000 yuan was given as an incentive for the purchase of electric vehicle. This has decreased to 12,600 yuan only by the end of 2022. Moving on to the next geography, which is India.
Okay.
India has set a target of 30 percentage of cars, 70 percentage of trucks, 40 percentage of buses, and 80 percentage of two and three wheelers by 2030, and 100 percentage of electric vehicles to be sold by 2070. In order to support this particular target, the government has reduced the GST on electric vehicles from 12 percentage to 5 percentage, and then there are certain other incentives and advantages also, very specific for working professionals. A total of 1,50,000 INR can be claimed as an exempt for people who are purchasing electric vehicles through loans. And at a state level or city level, there are other incentives as well, such as registration fee waiver, road tax exemption, and all. The United States, the other prominent region for electric vehicles, has a plan of achieving 50 percentage of electric vehicles by 2030. This particular initiative was made during the administration of Biden. However, while Trump came into administration, this particular initiative has been revoked. While the clear details on this particular initiative are not yet revealed, there are certain incentives that are being offered. For new electric vehicle buyers in United States, the government offers a 7,500 tax credit, and for used electric vehicle buyers, the government offers a 4,000 tax credit. For there are certain conditions associated with the purchase of used electric vehicle, such as the vehicle should not be more than 2 years old, or the price tag has should not be more than 25,000, like that. In addition to the tax credits given for the purchase of electric vehicle, the government also offers $1,000 tax credit for customers who are installing electric vehicle charging infrastructure at home. Europe again has a target of 60 to 70 percentage of cars by 2030 and 100 percentage of cars to be electric by 2035. Japan has a similar target, like 100 percentage of electric cars by 2035. But for light commercial vehicles, the targets are set at 20 to 30 percentage by 2030 and 100 percentage by 2040. The initial target that was set for heavy commercial vehicles was 5,000 units by 2020. And the government did not really announce any targets for heavy commercial vehicles, and we are expecting that they might be rolled out by 2030 like that. And we will discuss about the key players and the developments in the next slide. Yeah. While the electric vehicle industry is majorly divided into two things, one is the electric vehicle manufacturers and the electric vehicle battery manufacturers. There is a need for us to understand who are the leading players in the electric vehicle as well as the battery manufacturer. The first is the electric vehicle manufacturing, where we have BYD, Tesla, then we have Mercedes-Benz Group, Hyundai, Kia Corporation, BMW, Volkswagen, etc. And in the battery manufacturing industry, we have CATL, we have Samsung, we have Panasonic, we have BYD, we have SK Battery, and we have LG Energy. So the key developments to be discussed in the market are very specifically the collaborations and the announcements of their future strategies. For example, in May 2025, the a collaboration has happened between Nissan and Ford, very specifically for Nissan to utilize the Ford's battery plant in United States. GDI, one of the leading battery manufacturer, has raised $11.5 million to scale up its battery anode production capacity in the United States. CATL has announced a manufacturing facility in Indonesia, which is expected to go into production by March 2026. General Motors has announced its plans to develop lithium manganese rich prismatic batteries, which are to be used in their upcoming electric sports utility vehicles. Stellantis, in partnership with Factorial Energy, has announced its validation of the solid state battery with an energy density of 375 gigawatt hour, sorry, 375 watt hour per kilogram. Honda Motor is expecting to launch an affordable electric vehicle for the United States market, and it is expected to be at 30,000 and will be available by early 2026. Nissan has announced the third generation of its popular electric car model, that is the Nissan Leaf, and we expect that it will go into sale by the end of 2025. Tesla, which has announced its recent plans to enter the Indian market, has announced its phase-wise entry, wherein initially it will be importing cars from Germany and then it will build a domestic manufacturing plant.
Thank you, Ravi. I think now you talk a little bit about the battery technology. So, what are the innovations in the battery technology?
Yeah. So if we talk about the current popular chemistries, then we have lead acid, which was primarily the major contributor of the electric vehicle battery, which moved on to lithium ion most recently. So if we take a look at the demand for batteries, we have China leading, then Europe, then United States. In 2024, a total of 953 gigawatt hour battery demand was consumed, representing a 23.29 percentage growth as compared to 2023. In terms of vehicle categories, cars had the highest battery demand with 840 gigawatt hour per year, then vans with 42 gigawatt hour per year, two-wheelers and three-wheelers with 32 gigawatt hour per year, trucks with 24, and buses with 15 gigawatt hour per year. According to the International Energy Agency, the battery demand is going to grow at a CAGR of 22%, reaching 3,229 gigawatt hour per year by 2030. In
Thank
the
you.
next slide,
Thank
we will
yeah,
discuss more on the battery chemistries. Yeah.
yeah.
So while the demand for electric vehicles is increasing, there are a few things which act as a restraint to the overall growth. For instance, if we have to talk about lithium ion is one of the leading or the most significantly used battery chemistry in electric vehicles. The production of lithium currently is concentrated majorly in China, Australia, and Chile, due to which the other geographies which are anticipating a significant demand for electric vehicles have the need to import these raw materials and then manufacture them. due to which the overall cost of the electric vehicle is rising. On the other hand, to curtail this particular issue, there are two developments that we anticipate are going to come in the near future. One is localization of battery production. The government across different geographies are announcing incentives and subsidies to companies that are expecting to have their battery manufacturing companies locally. For example, in 2022, the government of India has launched a PLI scheme to incentivize the domestic battery manufacturing with a budget of 18,100 crores, which translates to around 2.5 billion US dollars. The United States has announced the incentive for localization of battery in three rounds. The initial round, which was done in 2022, awarded a total of $1.8 billion. In 20, sorry, in 2023, it was $3 billion, and in January 2025, it was 725 million. Another area where I mentioned that there is a need for reducing reliance on imports is the battery recycling. As we know that there are several vehicles on road in the Asian and European markets which have exceeded their average age and are ready for recycling. So through recycling, we can expect that batteries or battery components can be recycled and used in new vehicles, which creates circular economy and reduce the reliance on imports.
Thank you, Ravi. Sorry, I'm having a lot of questions from the audience here. So thank you everyone for having questions. If you have any other questions, please let us know. And last, I think for your presentation, Ravi, what is the future of electric vehicles and electric vehicle battery industry?
Yeah. So, like we discussed, we have been discussing in the webinar that manufacturers are working on developing alternative battery chemistries. There are different technologies that are coming into existence, which can really contribute to the growth of the electric vehicle industry. I'll talk about it one by one. The first one is development of alternative battery chemistries. Like I mentioned earlier, there were lead acid and lithium ion or lithium based battery chemistries which were most popular. Right now, manufacturers are working on solid ion batteries, solid state batteries, and advanced lithium ion chemistries, which not only improve the range of the electric vehicle but also contribute to faster charging speeds, increasing the overall battery span of the lifespan of the batteries. The next one is battery swapping station. These are not yet popular in India or any other developing nation, but manufacturers are aggressively working on this. Battery swapping station is basically a place where customers can replace their fully depleted battery with a new fully charged battery from the docking station. They simply have to replace the battery, pay for the battery, and they can move on. Key players in the battery swapping ecosystem include Neo from China, Gogoro from Taiwan, and Sun Mobility from India. In the next slide, we are going to discuss the other two factors which we feel are going to drive the electric vehicle industry. Yeah. So, like we see that there are a lot of geographies. Let's take the case of India to be very specific. The major challenge for the sale of electric vehicles is the lack of charging infrastructure. So, governments across the globe have done their regulatory framework, have started taking initiatives on expanding the charging infrastructure. So by the next 5 years, we feel that the number of charging stations across the globe is going to significantly increase, due to which both passenger electric vehicles and commercial electric vehicles are going to sales are going to increase. The other and the last point for today's discussion is on the government incentives and subsidies. So we have been seeing that governments have set targets, and to achieve those targets, they have been announcing subsidies and incentives both for customers as well as companies that are establishing battery manufacturing facilities. So if the governments across the globe continuously support customers as well as manufacturers in terms of incentives and subsidies, then obviously the number of electric vehicles that are being sold, that are being manufactured, is going to increase, and then we can see significant reduction in carbon emissions.
Thank you, Ravi. Thank you for these insights and for all the information. We have got quite a lot of questions. Not so sure if we will be able to answer today. So if not, for
I'll try my
anyone
best.
for everyone who has submitted a question, we will try if we cannot answer it today, we will do it by email. In the meanwhile, today we also have Tim with us, our strategy director from EMIS, who will show us the Mordor Intelligence report on the platform and see how this can support as one of our premium research reports the industry to help your strategic decisions. So Tim.
Perfect. Thank you very much, Esme. Yes, as mentioned, my name's Tim Adder. I'm the Strategic Business Director for EMIS. So I manage a lot of our relationships with financial services and legal sector, which puts me in a really interesting position to kind of get interactions with clients and the actual users of our research. So gets me the position where I can really understand what kind of intelligence is important to people making activity in the market. Esme gave a brief introduction to EMIS, but I'd just like to recap a little on the work we do. I won't be too long. I gather there are a lot of people who have eager questions for Ravi. So EMIS itself, our platform, our research is built around our own proprietary research, which comes from our 150 global analysts. But the real cornerstone is the partnerships we have with world-renowned researchers like Mordor Intelligence that we're very grateful for. We offer coverage, research and intelligence coverage across 370 sectors in 197 countries now, which encompasses around 13 million company profiles on top of that, and around 200,000 deals within M&A deal transactions. So quite a 360 coverage when it comes to activity in any market. We work through three main verticals, so industry research being the backbone, which is where we're very glad to be supported by Mordor and the good work they're doing. We then have our corporate intelligence and M&A vertical, which allows you to look at an industry through the research, but then actually understand who's active, what they're doing, and hopefully reveal some kind of opportunities for you. And then from a more macro, taking a step back perspective, we cover macroeconomic and geopolitical analysis and outlook. And more recently, underpinning all of our work across those three verticals, we have news and trending topic analysis tools, which are now supported by an AI component, which helps identify and summarize key trends and emerging themes. So it provides you with a very quick handle on what's going on in the market. Now, what I wanted to do is come across to the screen. So ideally, I think just to share a little bit, not too much on what we offer, but more so focus on the value that Mordor provides. We'll have a quick look once we come across to our markets at the automotive sector, following the EV theme. And then, as Ravi mentioned a few times, China is a major player here, both from a production and a consumption perspective, and certainly in the kind of subsector market around the kind of components. Now, with our intelligence, as I mentioned, we try and provide a very comprehensive picture of any sector, any industry in any country. Forgive my internet here, a little slow. What I'm going to be focusing on in a moment is the reports and the value that Mordor reports offer. We cover reports. So the news, as I mentioned, is a really good way of very quickly looking at a market and being able to confidently have a handle of what's going on there, what the prevailing themes are, and really get you up to speed. Our corporate intelligence then allows us to provide you with a very, very full landscape on who's active in these markets. So for this, you can see Chinese automotive sector, we have over 13,000 companies. And then M&A deals, which help you understand the transaction, the advisory, what kind of activity is happening, and can really be quite a big clue if you're looking to take activity in the market. Now, what I want to focus on, you can see some of our own reports here, but the real underpinning value in these kind of sectors is the work that Mordor's doing, which I want to kind of come across to. Now, I work with a range of different clients, a lot of whom use Mordor, and I consistently get very good feedback from them on the Mordor reports, especially in sectors where clients require quite deep, diligent research. Oftentimes, this is because it's underpinning investment decisions or strategies, especially for me personally, within the private equity and investment banking sectors. The reporting style in Mordor itself is very linear, it's very logical. The report coverage is incredibly robust and similar to EMIS, looks to offer very 360-degree perspective on what's actually happening in an industry. You can see here some of the key areas. You've got traditional areas that you kind of expect, like breakdowns by segmentation and geography, sales and forecasts, key strategic moves, and then some of the competitive landscape. But in particular, what I think our clients find very valuable, some of the areas that a lot of other providers and researchers won't go into as much detail on, things like supply chain, regulatory frameworks, distribution channel analysis, and with an emerging sector like EV, those three components are hugely important. The landscape there is changing constantly, especially from a regulatory perspective. So being able to have this in every report, the discoverability in the reports is really strong as well. So topics, whether you're looking at, as you can see, the China EV battery pack market, there'll be similar reports for India, and because the structure is linear and it's the same across the board, it's very easy to compare topics, countries, markets across different regions and geographies, which in particular is a popular one with our clients. I wanted to talk a little bit as well on the kind of data-driven element. So this is really key. A wide range of data is proposed within the reports. You can see kind of sales, compound annual growth rates, key sector indicators. I'll just leave this up on screen, but there's, as you can see, a lot of different insights. The forecasts as well are very valuable. They're generally around 5 to 7 years, which we find is the kind of sweet spot between being too short term and then too long term and unfortunately speculative. So that 5-year sweet spot we find has the highest accuracy historically. This is of course quite popular with clients who are concerned with the outlook of an industry or a subsector and where the market will be a few years down the line. Everyone's very interested with that, especially in the EV sector where there's constant transformation, but any kind of voice or intel on what the outlook is generally very highly regarded. The market segmentation, as I mentioned, is broken down in very good ways by application type and geography. And of course, the kind of breakdown, the better the breakdown, the more granular the analysis can be when you look at competitive benchmarking and strategic investments. Just kind of drawing to a quick close on my side, I just wanted to highlight a couple of other areas I find to be quite valuable. So on the company landscape and competitive marketplace, it includes market share estimates, project launches, M&A activity, and strategic moves of key players, which we find it's all important information. And when you're working in a foreign market, having both the international and the local market intelligence there for both global leaders but also regional challenges is very important, and it can be very hard to come by. And just on a kind of final note from my side, a few things that we find from a kind of analysis or a market intelligence perspective are very popular. There's Porter's 5-force analysis as well as SWOT analysis. This offers a few different strategic advantages that help decision makers understand market dynamics from kind of complementary but different perspectives. So there's a lot of intelligence in there which helps you. It's not just about pointing out the information, it helps you come to conclusions. I'll probably stop there just because of all the questions. There's a lot more, of course, that we could cover here, but in the interest of time, I'd like to maybe pass back over to Esme and Ravi. I'm sure most of the questions will be directed at you.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you for this insight on how we can help with Mordor reports, how we can support business strategy decisions. So we have quite a lot of questions. I have just a couple that I have sent to Ravi, and I think we will have time to reply a couple of them because we are already over the 30 minutes. And one of them is about Brazil. What are the specific data, insights, or key trends that are available for the electric vehicle market in Brazil? We have some colleagues here interested on Brazil.
Okay. So, like we discussed earlier, the major geographies are China, US, and Europe. The Latin American or the South American market is still in a niche stage when we talk about the sales of electric vehicles. To be very specific, I think we recently had a chance to review the documents published by the Brazilian Automotive Association, which is ANFAVIA, and according to them, a total of 2.4 percentage sales have come from electric vehicles in 2024. This has increased to 2.6 percentage in the first 4 months of 2025. Speaking very specifically about the trucks and buses, a total of 0.57 percentage sales came from hybrid and electric propulsions, which has increased to 0.85 in the first 4 months of 2025. The like many other geographies, even Brazilian government has also announced their targets, and also for both electric vehicles as well as charging infrastructure, which we believe are going to drive the demand over the forecast period. In terms of targets, the government plans to have 300,000 units of electric vehicles sold by 2029 and 500,000 electric vehicles sold by 2034. And when it comes to charging infrastructure, the government aims to have 30,000 charging stations by 2029 and 60,000 charging stations by 2034.
Thank you, Ravi. We have also many questions about political developments, specifically about Trump's tariff. Will that impact the electrical vehicle market? I think you mentioned something before with the change from Biden to Trump. Any more insights on this?
Yeah, so basically, like we see, there is a lot of tension going in the electric vehicle market, very specifically when Trump has announced their tariffs and the Chinese government has also announced their tariffs. So I think yesterday there has come a conclusion between both the geographies, wherein United States is going to impose a 55 percentage on tariffs and China is going to impose a 10 percentage on tariffs. China being a leader in both manufacturing and sales, I think there are several geographies who really depend on China, be it in terms of raw materials for the batteries, be it in terms of electric vehicles, be it in terms of other components that are associated with electric vehicles. So while the political influence or the ongoing trade war has a significant impact on the electric vehicles, there might be a pickup again when these particular tensions come into halt. I think they are going to be done in the next few days.
Thank you, Ravi. We are keeping getting questions, but I think we are now over the 30 minutes time. So we will reply some of these questions. We are questioning about India, about EV battery exporting, a lot of questions by email, if it's okay. Just to
Yeah,
close
sure.
the webinar, just we want to say thank you. We will be sending an email with the video recording and the presentation as well. And if you have any other questions after seeing this, please come back to us, and Ravi will be delighted to try to express some of these insights, information for all of you. So thank you so much. Stay tuned, and thank you for attending today. Thank you, Ravi. Thank you, team. Have
Thank
a
you.
good day.
Bye, everyone.
Bye bye.
Thank you, Yasmi. Thank you, everyone. Bye bye.